And we have a headline today. The Mayo Clinic comes in with an article, Breaking Down Obesity. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I've got it pulled up here. I'm just going to kind of read the first opening paragraph and the overview, and then we can kind of get into some of these questions. So obesity is a complex disease involving having too much body fat. Obesity isn't just a cosmetic concern. It's a medical problem that increases the risk of many other diseases and health problems. Those can include heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, liver disease, sleep apnea, and certain cancers. So when we talk about being obese, it is not just what you see on the outside, it is how it's impacting you on the inside from a health perspective. There are many reasons why some people have trouble losing weight, and often obesity results from inherited beliefs, environmental factors, combined with diet, physical activity, and exercise choices. The good news is that even modest weight loss can improve the health problems that can be underlying with obesity. A healthier diet, increased physical activity, and behavior changes can really help you lose weight. Obviously, there's also a medical world out there when it comes to obesity with medical weight loss drugs and programs. But obviously, this is a problem in the United States. There's another article that I read. I want to say 40% of our world right now, or of our United States, is obese. I'm going to fact check that really quickly, but that's a problem, and it's not, like we said, it's not just about what food you're eating and the exercise and the diet. There's so much that goes into this. And I was thinking about it a lot last night when I read the article, that our system is really doing an injustice to the people that live here because of the access to food, the price of quality food, the belief system that we've instilled in a lot of our brains about food, the way that we get marketed to.
I was just going to say,
Yeah. So I think, I was reading this article about, and I have my own experience with it. When I worked in the CPG industry, I worked for Kellogg's. And so we had products that were WIC approved, women, infant, children. Devan, I know you've been on food stamps as a kid, and that food wasn't quality food. That was crappy food, right? And so how are we as a society supporting people that don't have the means and the money to eat quality food? Why don't they get the same access? Why are we pushing the bad food into them? Those are the people that probably already have some belief systems about being physically fit. And so for me, it's about how do we provide more access to that population that needs to first be educated, have better access to diet and exercise, and then how do we change the belief system about food and just, God, we could go really deep in here, but that's the basis of the article. And I want to make sure I pull up and fact check the stats of how many people are obese.
I just did that for you while you were talking.
Thank you.
So
Thank
let
you.
me be,
Teamwork.
because this
42%.
because this
42%,
article
God.
of Americans.
because this article is shining light on the dangers of being obese, which are real. There are real dangers to it. There is a direct correlation with obesity and lifespan. And this is not my opinion. You can look it up anywhere on the interwebs. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's a bad way to start this. I observe that we are doing much better with part of the conversation. In the 1960s, in the 70s, and in the 80s, we didn't have as much access to food, which is the root cause of obesity, but we also didn't have as much awareness around fitness and health and access to information and knowledge. So there wasn't as many obese people, but there also wasn't any need to combat it. So what the obesity crisis has done is also created this tailwind of a fitness and wellness industry that's booming right now. And we're at the beginning, in my opinion, of changing the ship just 1 degree. What happens when a person sets a goal in their life, or a ship decides to change course going north to go, let's say, northwest? If I just turn that 1 degree, I might be turning a little bit, but over time, if I continue on that path versus my original path at 1 degree north, I'm going to end up in two vastly, completely geometrically different places. And what we are experiencing right now at a 73.6% overweight ratio, which, by the way, a little caveat is that is based on
BMI.
body mass index, which can have an asterisk next to it. I could technically at some point be considered overweight if I was like 5 pounds heavier. If I ate 2 cheeseburgers and now all of a sudden I'm overweight.
Because it doesn't consider
muscle mass.
Yeah.
But 43% obesity by all in America by all standards. So 43% are in danger, and 73.6% could potentially be on the brink of that. Okay, so we're doing better. We have more physical awareness around it. The next level, this is level 1, physical awareness of our body. Number 2 is psychological awareness. It's going from I need to do this because I know that physical fitness is good for me because I read it everywhere, to intrinsically going inward and understanding how this thing called fitness does more than just get you biceps and abs. It actually changes the chemistry of your brain. It rewires your brain so that you can start to become a person that does hard things. And if you step in the gym every single day and you're showing yourself what you're made of, things in your life get a little bit easier, like eating food and controlling your food habits. And so I'm all for, like, as you know, here at Burn Boot Camp, like there's this huge movement over the last like half of a decade, the whole body love movement, which I find parts of it amazing, and I find parts of it that I think could get more sharp, and that could get better. Loving your body is taking care of your body. Your body is a temple. It is a beautiful thing. It's a gift from God, and we have to take care of our body. That's what it is. It's taking care of it. It's genuinely treating your body as if it was something that is worthy of being taken care of. Like, we oftentimes will take more care of like our artifacts than we do of our body, like our trophy that we got, for winning the state baseball championship in high school. We'll take better care of that artifact than we actually will of our body. So body love is taking care of yourself from the inside out. And body love is not denying the scientific dangers that sit behind obesity and saying it's okay because I love myself. Now, if you want to love yourself and that's the blueprint that you have and you think big is beautiful, and I agree, that is you, that is your perspective. I think your perspective is the truth, but there's also a universal truth that says once you get over this certain weight, you're into super obesity, your lifespan is going to average 7 years less. And if we can understand that and we're still happy with it, if you know that information and you still choose to live that lifestyle, then I am on board. I am team you. But the thing I have a problem with is we can't go through life saying, I'm going to do whatever I want to my body, whenever I want, regardless of the danger that it puts me in, and I'm going to live the longest, most fruitful life that I possibly can. And I'm going to so there's just a built-in inherent contradiction in our current definition of the term body love. And I think this is what I mean. Why I'm saying this is what I mean from first level to second level. When we actually get what that means, when we psychologically understand that loving our body is doing everything that we can humanly possible to take care of ourselves so that we can be here, so that we can have energy, so that we can live for our families and for ourselves. Once we understand that, I think we will have collectively shifted the paradigm. If anybody's ever heard me say Burn Boot Camp exists to shift the paradigm, that's what I mean.
Yeah. I think also one of the good things, just kind of bring it back to Burn Boot Camp. If you're one of those people out there, you don't know where to start, or maybe you have a friend that doesn't know where to start, that's where I'm really thankful we have focus meetings, which is if you wanted to go in and just talk to a trainer, a certified personal trainer, about what next steps do I need to take to get to all the things that Devan was just talking about, we have these available for you. And we also have body diagnostics. So it can tell you more than your BMI, which I know still kind of throws me for a loop because I do weigh like more than I probably would be considered overweight, because I do have like a lot of muscle mass, which I'm thankful. I don't like to get on it often because I have mental problems and I need to work through them myself. I'm just being very honest with you guys. But we do have that machine that will help you then show how much body muscle mass you do have, and then how much body weight or body fat you have. And then you can make a plan to get back on track, or whatever your goals are, to Devan's point, to get that body love, which is most important for everybody. So I just want to call out the focus meetings, because I do think that those are really helpful if you have nowhere to start and you don't know who to talk to.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts on this.
Same.
First, I want to touch on what Devan was talking about, body positivity and body love. I feel very blessed that I have a great relationship with my body. I actually talk about her as if she were a person. She's not an it, she's a her and a she. And just that switch, words matter, has made such a huge difference for me, because I want to treat her so good, right? I am so grateful for everything that she allows me to do. She allows me to go swimming with my nephew. I was just in Naples, Florida, and I was playing in the pool with my nephew. She allows me to take my dog for a walk. She allows me to feel and hear things and taste things. So I do think that's very, very important. And that makes me want to take such good care of her. And that definitely comes with being mindful about what I'm fueling her with. But I think one thing we didn't talk about yet that I think is so important is how much less movement we have in our lives as we've gotten older, right? Like, I remember when I was younger, riding my bike to my friend's house. And if it wasn't for my dog now and Burn, I'd probably sit most of the day. I have a desk job, so I sit behind the desk. Most people will sit at their desks their entire day, and then they'll go home and they'll sit on the couch and sit some more until they go to sleep and lay down. So that's not a lot of movement, right? And those are those two parts that our body really needs, is to fuel ourselves with food that is giving us power and nutrients and vitamins and all those beautiful things, and also to move. Even just taking 1 30-minute walk a day is going to make such a huge difference.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that was actually part of one of the articles too, was just the rise in technology. And, when you think about our kids, and what's the future going to look like for them if we keep going down that pathway, and how are we getting our kids away from the screens and back onto the bike? And, they're eliminating recess in certain schools, I've heard. And so I kind of go back to like the system. That's what I can't get my mind off of when we think about obesity. This article here that I was reading, and Devan, you said we're getting better, but we're up 30%
So
from
we're
just
getting
20 years
more
ago.
aware.
More aware, yeah. And we spend over $1 trillion on obesity-related healthcare. So it's like, wow, what could we do with those $1 trillion? Right now we're feeding the system to treat those diseases that we've talked about obesity can create. But I don't know. I mean, we at Burn Boot Camp can only do our part. And so that's what we'll stay focused on. We've started to partner with insurance companies. So that's a big initiative for us, is how do we get with insurance companies, with employers, to say, hey, how can we get your employees to be active, to get them moving, to pay for their membership, pay for a portion of their membership. Our on-demand product, to me, is that way for us to be more accessible to people that maybe cannot afford a boutique fitness membership or are not in an area where there is a Burn Boot Camp. Movement is important to us, and it all drives back to our mission. And so we'll continue to do the things that help educate people on what does nourishment look like, and what does movement look like, and find your modality. And we want to meet you where you're at. Like Trish said, we want to meet you where you're at, bring you in, and help you start to achieve some of those small goals. But I think this is a more systemic problem that is not really being addressed, because it doesn't serve, from a money perspective, it doesn't serve people well, because they won't make as much money when less people are obese.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I just want to say one last thing on this is that when it comes to like, does obesity run in the family? And the answer is yes. I mean, there are genes that account to 40% to 70% of genetic obesity, but there's also epigenetic and environmental factors as well, like diet, exercise, etc. But I think the most important one out of all that is going back to your childhood and examining what belief systems were installed, right? There could be a proclivity or a tendency to be overweight because of your genes, but also genes, as we know, we can turn them off and turn them on. we can upregulate genes and we can downregulate genes. It is now scientifically proven you can make yourself sick through thought, and you can create healing in your body through thought. And obesity, as this article says, is labeled in the scientific world, not my words, as a disease. And so if we are sick, then thought can then heal obesity. And I really believe that what that actually means practically for us is that these belief systems that were installed by our parents, because we might look at our parents and say, oh, it's genetic because both of my parents are overweight. Yes, there is a tendency to be overweight, but also epigenetically, you were installed belief systems that weren't yours. And now all of a sudden you are 42 and you believe we are just big bone people.
Yeah.
You believe that. And so the most powerful force in human nature is to be consistent with who you believe you are.
What's your RAS, right? Your reticular activating system. So
That's
if you
right.
tell yourself that, then your actions are going to follow, and you're going to start making choices like you're a big boned person, or, you know, whatever you say to yourself. And so words matter.
Seek and you shall find.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Any other thoughts there, you guys?
No,
Woo!
good topic.
Fire me
Good
up on
topic.
this one,
I could talk
everybody.
about that
Oh,
the whole
yeah.
time because I just feel passionate about it. But
This is part of our mission.
yeah,
Yeah,
So-
I just think you need to, focus on what you want your life to look like, right? Like, yeah, you may have some genetic predispositions, but if you're not eating healthy and you're not getting some movement, you're not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah.
And think about what that means for the quality of your life. Like, do you want to run a little bit, faster with your kids? Do you want to be able to play with them for a little bit longer? Do you want to be able to lift your child, as you're playing with them, or not have your later years in life be spent in a hospital bed, and you get to invest in yourself?
absolutely.